So jumping straight into this Halloween look today, I'm just taking some liquid latex with a paintbrush and sketching out across onto my forehead. And because this is a new bottle of latex, it's a little bit runnier than I would have hoped for and probably would have benefited from it being a little bit thicker, but I'm just building all on the areas where I'm putting it, and then I'm going to leave it to dry. Now that's all on, we're just leaving it to dry and going in with my Morphe 35N palette and the reddish shade. For this I'm using a 224 MAC blending brush and just buffing it right the way up to near the brow bone. Going back in with the same palette, I'm taking a little bit of the grey and the black and using a tiny little brush just to define the outer edge of the eye. Then I'm taking NYX Jumbo eye pencil in Milk and popping this right in the centre of the lid. Then to define that, I'm just taking a smudging brush and buffing out all the edges. Then using Goddess of Love, this is going to be my main highlighter throughout this video, and to start I'm highlighting my inner tear duct. And then with exactly the same colour, I'm just popping this on top of the eyeshadow base. Using a pair of pointed tweezers, I'm just going to start tearing the latex just to give it a little bit more texture. And just be mindful not to stab yourself with the tweezers, even though it might add a good blood effect, but they are sharp. And then doing exactly the same just around the mouth area. Then with my favourite liquid liner, I'm just going to create a really long wing. And then I'm just taking red lip liner by MAC and popping this in my waterline and underneath. Taking a really tiny weeny brush, this is a lip brush from Real Techniques, I'm just smudging it right underneath the eye. And then excuse the mess of this Burns wheel, but this is Krylon, and then I'm taking a tiny weeny paintbrush and going right in the crease with the red shade. Adding a small amount of mascara and then sticking on my false lashes, which are MAC 48s and Duo Glue. To sharpen up underneath my eyeshadow, I'm just taking a face wipe and then applying my foundation all over, which is MAC Prolong Wear Waterproof in NC30. You want to buff this all over the skin and on top of the latex to blend it in a little bit more. Taking my favourite under eye concealer in Light, this is the Maybelline-Eye eraser. I'm popping this on the centre of my nose and underneath my eyes and Cupid's bow. And then really blending that in with just a damp sponge. To contour, I'm using GIRL Pro Concealer in the shade Chestnut and contouring my nose and the real high points of my cheekbones. Blend all of this out, I'm taking a 188 MAC Duo Fibre brush. And to blend out my nose contour, I just like to use an angled eyeshadow brush just for more precision. Then for the bruising, I'm using Krylon-Bruise wheel and the purple shade. I'm popping this right on the actual socket of the eye and where it's a little bit more hollow. If you want a good idea of where to put bruising and you're not quite sure, you can either research pictures or without makeup, feel all the areas on your face that are a little bit more hollow, and that's where the bruising would be. Then taking a tiny bit of the green just to darken it up, and popping this right on the very bottom of the eye socket just for a little bit more shading. And your fingers are probably your best tool for this because you don't want it to be too precise and the fingers warm up the product a little bit more. To set this, I'm just using a tiny bit of Studio Fix powder in NC25. These products, especially the Bruise Wheel and the Burns Wheel, are a little bit more oil based, so you don't want it to look too shiny. And then for the feathered lash effect, I'm just taking retro black eye pen and really just sketching them all over. You don't have to be too perfect with it, it looks better if they're a little bit more wispy. To make the eyes appear a little bit more framed and a bit wider, I'm using the same eyeliner and drawing a line all the way underneath where we put the red. To add a little bit more bruising to the mouth area, I'm just going right underneath where I've put the latex and onto my chin and buffing it in with my finger. With Goddess of Love, I'm just highlighting my brow bone. And then going in with Harmony just to accentuate my cheekbones. And then to highlight, the same highlighter I've been using on the tops of my cheekbones and down my nose. A little bit more detail around the slashed mouth, I'm taking the Burns wheel and using the darkest shade, popping this in all of the areas that I've peeled away the latex just so it looks a little bit more hollow. Not sure what happened, but the lips part cut out. All I used was a black eyeliner and the Jumbo Milk eye pencil from NYX and blended it all together. So now, as you can see, I'm adding the blood. This is actually a homemade blood. It's corn flour. I think it's a little bit of golden syrup and red food colouring. So it's really friendly, safe to put in your mouth, but it stains like a mother. Nothing a hot bath can't get out though, so you've just got to pursue it. So now I'm also adding it to the tops of my lid just to create more of a cut crease effect. And I'm not going to lie, I probably didn't leave the latex for long enough and it wasn't thick enough, so I'm just going in with a little bit of moulding wax and popping this right on the top of where I'd put the latex. Then taking a little lip brush again and the black shade, I'm just shading in where the cross is meant to be. To give it a little bit more dimension, I'm taking the bruise wheel and adding a little bit of bruising around where the cross is meant to be. And going in with a tiny bit of red, I'm just shading in all of the areas that I want to make it look a little bit deeper, and then adding the blood right to the centre and the outer edges. To add the final touches, I'm adding some bruising to my collarbones, my neck, and on my shoulders. Taking a little bit more of the darker shade and then adding a little bit of blood, and I'm just using mainly my fingers for this because you want it to look a little bit messy. And this is the finished look, so I've just added a pair of black wings to complete the dark angel look. I hope you've all enjoyed watching today. If you have, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to my channel.